In the annals of horror, or, at least the horror movies that I've seen, nobody, and I mean nobody, has gotten killed in more creative ways than Freddy Krueger. So in this video, we are going to go through and rank all the ways that Freddy Krueger has bit the big one. Coming in dead last at number 9 is the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake. You guys know me by now, and you know I have no love lost for the remake. And to be perfectly honest, that trend continues because this kill really does absolutely nothing for me. I get dragging Freddy out into the real world and all that because it's a tactic used all the time in the other films, but simply dragging him out to cut his throat? I mean, come on. I mean, it's not a downright awful kill, but just very pedestrian by this franchise's standards. And I guess personally, with how much they abused the CGI in this entry, I expected a lot more creativity, but I guess I was wrong. Coming in at number 8 is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddys Revenge. If it wasn't for my unhealthy bias against the remake, this kill would probably sit at the very bottom because I just think it's stupid. I know what they were trying to go for with his death, but it just comes out of nowhere and feels completely shoehorned in and hokey. Now I know this film is filled with sexual metaphors and allegories and shit like that, and I might be stretching this, but it's almost like they are saying Jesse's latent homosexuality was the evil within eating him alive, aka Freddy, and it was magically cured by the kiss of a woman turning him straight. I mean, you could kind of take it that way, but I don't know, it sucks regardless. And the only reason it's not dead last was that there were some cool practical effects going on here. But you do know that old saying that it was truly beauty that slayed the beast. No, it was more like shit that slayed the suck. Coming in at number 7 is Freddys Dead. Yet another one in the category of it's so bad that it's bad. Here we go again, dragging Freddy out of the dream world in order to kill him, but instead of doing something creative like the previous 2 films that came out before this one, they just said fuck it and decided to blow his ass up with a stick of dynamite, Looney Tunes style. Kids. And the capper to this shit sandwich is the completely laughable 3D effects where Freddy barfs up Freddy's face and, just f*** it. We're moving on.
Oh my gosh. Does that suck?
Coming in at number 6 is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Speaking of homages and metaphors from, Part 2, this kill at the end of New Nightmare is kind of an homage to the killing of the witch in Hansel and Gretel. I mean, think about it. Freddy's the witch, Heather and her son are Hansel and Gretel, Freddy looks like he wants to eat them both, and then they trap his ass in an oven and burn him alive. Now, this certainly isn't one of the more memorable kills in the franchise. It's not as pedestrian as the remake or as that dumb shit in Part 2. It's fine, in big ol' quotation marks, fine. But I think where this kill loses points for me is the hilarious transition from Freddy to the demon itself. Now I get this was the early 90s and digital effects then aren't what they are now, but if Jurassic Park came out around the same time and could make dinosaurs look real, then surely this film could have done something better than what ended up looking like Windows Movie Maker effects. Coming in at number 5 is Part 5, Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Child. I do give this kill points for being creative, but it is still a big ball of what in the absolute f***. And it starts with Danny luring Freddy into a false sense of security by asking him to teach him some of his sick moves. And then Danny vomits all over Freddy, which I guess were supposed to be the souls that Freddy fed him from earlier. And those souls, now having pierced through Freddy, are hanging off his back like a triple pack of testicles. And then suddenly Freddy is turned back into baby form and then sucked into the womb of his ghost mother. Like, what the hell were they smoking when they came up with this one?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Coming in at number 4 is the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I know I put being killed by love from part 2 all the way at the bottom of this list, and this kill might not seem as far off as that one, but being killed by no longer being afraid of him actually does make perfect sense for this movie, considering that Freddy's power in this is drawn from the fear that he creates in his victims. Nancy finally standing up to him and confronting him and conquering that fear by saying she no longer gives a shit is thus taking that power away from him. Now, it might not be an elaborate or flashy ending, but it's the perfect ending that this movie needed. Oh hell, who am I kidding? The perfect ending was seeing a blow-up doll get sucked through a door window. Coming in at number 3 is A Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors. Holy shit, everybody stop the presses, because you can mark it down as the very first time on any of these Freddy rankings that I put Dream Warriors anywhere but number 1. For as much as I love Dream Warriors, I always felt Freddy's demise was a tad underwhelming. I mean, I love the whole final confrontation between Freddy and the kids in the dream world, and also the one in the real world between the doctor and Nancy's dad going up against the skeletal remains in a sort of Jason and the Argonauts showdown. Plus, in the end, I do like the consecrating of Freddy's remains and Nancy going out like a hero, even if she was easily duped by the old switcheroo there.
I can't believe you fell for the oldest trick in the book! What a goof! What's with you, man? Come on!
But just something about the build to this ending felt sort of rushed, and as I said before, underwhelming. I can't really put my finger on specifically why. Maybe it's the fact that Freddy was fighting a war on 2 fronts instead of the climax being focused on one particular battle. But yeah, I don't know. But it does still make my top 3, and it's still a good kill, but there are just 2 more in the franchise that I think do it a little bit better. Coming in at number 2 is Freddy vs. Jason. I know I've ranked Freddy vs. Jason in the middle or lower end of my franchise rankings for both Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. However, this showdown between Freddy and Jason at the end of this movie was everything that it was built up to be, and it is truly one of the standout highlights of both franchises. The ending climactic battle between Freddy and Jason was just epic, and literally a bloody spectacle. Freddy gets the teetotal shit beat out of him by Jason, with the coup de grace being stabbed with his own glove that was still attached to his severed arm, and then Laurie chopping his head off with Jason's machete.
Welcome to my world, bitch!
Red front of left field! High, deep, and a grand slam to walk it off!
Seeing this movie in the theater when it came out was like going to a pay-per-view heavyweight fight. Jason fans were cheering for Jason, and Freddy fans were cheering for Freddy. And this final battle was just a rush of excitement in the theater. Because when I went to go see it, the theater was packed, and people were losing their minds. And there aren't too many demises that can rival this. Well, except one, which means coming in at number 1 is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, Dreammaster. Yes, according to yours truly right here, this is the very best kill in the entire Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Well, getting defeated by your own reflection is a bit corny. However, it's what happens next that puts this over the top. It's when the souls of Freddy's victims start ripping Freddy apart from the inside out. It is just disgustingly exquisite. And then one of the arms reaches up and rips that fucker's jaw wide open, and Freddy is toast. And during that whole bit, we even get a nice quick boob cameo from Linnea Quigley. It is a truly gruesome and fitting death, and special effects and makeup work here are simply incredible. And I think what I find extra incredible is the fact that typically when it comes to effects like this, we're usually talking about miniatures. But here they did the opposite and built a giganticature? I mean, whatever. They built a giant version of Freddy's torso to have life-size arms ripping out of it, and to also have life-size bodies trying to push their way out of Freddy's body. And the transitions in the film between the life-size and the gigantic effects are seamless and perfect. And in my opinion, it's a truly remarkable feat of special effects engineering. And that's on top of being probably the most brutal death of Freddy in the entire franchise, which is why it sits at number 1 on this ranking. Well, that is it for this ranking video. How would you guys rank the Freddy Krueger deaths? Did you think that I was fair? Do you agree with my ranking? What are your guys' favorite deaths of Freddy Krueger in the franchise? I'm repeating myself here because... But anyway, please post your rankings of the Freddy Krueger deaths below. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Adios. Now, GTFO!